I believe in life, I believe in love, and I believe in cinema.
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you for waiting. I apologize. Yes, it's true. And of course, as a filmmaker, you always think whether some decisions you've made like that are radical are good or not. But now it's been time to leave that in the past. It was just a few things here and there. I think it was altogether 7 minutes longer or 6. I remember when they go to this place where he meets Marianne, this hotel, the inn she has. She was serving some ice cream and some people pass by and she talks to them. So there was a bit more of a social interaction there, context. But then I thought it should be cleared of all of that and just made more, I don't want to use the word pure, but let's say with less influences from context, social context or anything like that. So I think it was very probably a good decision. So, basically, I remember in those days I was thinking of this story. I don't even want to say story, but of these events happening, not necessarily in the Mennonite community. Some people think that this happened there because the Mennonites are, still religious and all that. But I thought of this happening in a hospital in Mexico City. Originally, it would be, between some doctors and nurses or just different doctors. I don't know. And but then I drove to the north of Mexico and I passed by Chihuahua, where they have these camps. They call them camps. And I thought it would be a perfect setting because, this is a classless, and there's no context like in this kind of organization we do in the world. So it would be just simple to talk about a woman, a man, a father, a brother, a dog. No need for accents, no need for clothes, no need for special housings. So it would all just be about, what is really happening, which is there's this pain in the heart that kills somebody who is loved and who loves, and what happens with this person that is causing this pain but wants to be loyal to someone he loves in a way, but then he thinks he loves in another way someone else. This is the dynamics of attraction and infatuation, and all of this would be the center of the film, and so it could have happened somewhere else. But I'm very happy it happened there because I love the lights, the colors, and the fields of this place. And also I could find really interesting characters, interesting looking people there, because they're so exposed to the elements that they really pick up a lot of character from the sun and the dust and the harsh life they have in a way. Yes. Well, we've been remastering all of the films. So to be honest, I think all the ones that were shot in film, we wanted to, scan them and have them now in digital. And I have to tell you, I have a very hard time revisiting my films. I never do it except for things like this, which I have to do. But yes, you had to see it in Locarno 2 days ago, and I left the screen immediately. I couldn't even see the first credit. So this is all part of the past. I like to do it and then leave it behind. But I suppose, because my children, 16 and 17 years old now, for the first time in their lives, saw a film I've made. And they said that it was completely relevant for them. It was like something that would have been made maybe yesterday, in the sense that it is treating with these things that are just so much part of our nature, which is the way we love, the way we desire, the way we're confused, the way we are probably hopeful and then deceived, and then again hopeful, always falling and always wanting to get up again. So these things are always part of our nature, so always present. And hopefully there's nothing that can grow old when you deal with these issues, if you pay attention to them. Some people sometimes use this concept of slow cinema, and I don't think it's about speed, but about how deep can you look into things. And then if you stop and you look deeply, then the details inform everything, and then it may look slow, but it's not slow if something is really happening in the screen. And I hope this film is that. So that's the reason for which I feel close to it, and still, even though I haven't, I promise, I just saw it very quickly so I could do the color again, but trying to keep very distant from the actual film. personally. That's just completely personal.
Hi, Mr. Reygadas, Felipe Flores from the media Apuntes de Cine from Mexico. I want to be rude speaking in Spanish, but it's okay. A film like Stellet Licht is receiving honors in Locarno today. Its content remains very relevant because, especially in these turbulent times, for me, it's a very good movie, a good example from personality, from good and the ugly truth for every people. How does this make you feel? Your feelings about your film in these times, so turbulence.
Yes, yes. There's huge turbulence in every possible way all over the world. There's always been the same troubles, the same greed that makes us fight for everything, as always, for nothing. I mean, for the smallest things. But at the same time, now maybe this all the individualism that, despite the fact that we like to talk about community and this and that, just keeps on growing. The economical pressure so many people have, the hypocrisy of politicians, and also the questioning of so many ideas that we have constructed. Many of them, or the essential of them, very important to question and even and completely to overturn. But at the same time, this questioning has brought, certain things with it, that some of them, like every good idea, every revolution brings also roads or paths that go amok, that don't go anywhere. So sometimes you even think that the idea of love, the idea of a vertical connection of community, and by that I mean not only connecting with your peers, but connecting with above and with below, so we can pass on the knowledge and always go up the stairs, not only go in lateral movements. All of this has been part of the recent times. So it is good. Again, I refer to my children, that they said, "Oh, I'm so happy I saw a film that felt meaningful in the sense of something that is being constructed, and that can bring solace, to us." So solace, but also thinking deeply, not so superficial diversion. So I think it's we have to observe, we have to connect, we have to think about what we do. And we have to be deeper and not only flag wavers. And of course, there's a huge trouble in the world, but I think it will pass. I am very optimistic if we survive the wars or whatever. Carry on. We will carry on, and everything comes in cycles that we do know. Question now. Yes, I think, I think a film, not even an image, of course an image, but a whole film will not create a strong energy if it is not organized. Okay, so I think the images, which imply the sounds, let's say the perception of the external world, because it's just one, we separate it in organs, but it's just a perception. And then the organization of this perception in blocks in time, because no matter what we say, even if time can feel cyclical and is cyclical in a way, it happens in a line, in a progressive line. When you're watching a film, there's a beginning and a development and an end in just in time proper, mathematically speaking. I believe that you have to be able to connect the dots and put a form around them to try to so you can create, let's say, a whole net that will work, or any object, an envelope. It doesn't matter what it is. Whatever object that you create has to have a form, so it can, I don't want to say serve a purpose, because that is too directed, but so it can be what it is. Or an apple, whatever. It has to have the form of an apple. I'm not speaking in platonical terms, just of things being whatever they are. So you have to think about this and visualize this. And then this is the paradox. I used to like to storyboard and really prepare very carefully. But at the same time, you have to keep very alive all the time, especially during the shooting and during the edition and until the last moment of mixing, to see what is it that is happening within this structure that you can design, so things do happen all the time that are unexpected and that are not coming from your own vision, but from whatever is out there, and you have to be able to capture and always keep flexibility and fluidity in what you're doing. So now, for example, in the film I'm doing now, for the first time, I didn't want to do a storyboard. I didn't want to do it anymore. But I'm still quite serious with the dialogues. The dialogues that many people think that I don't even write them and they look improvised. Precisely, they do, because they are very carefully written. So sometimes, and that I confirm with this new film, when I said no, let's not write the dialogue and just see how it goes, it doesn't work. It works so much better when it is really well written, because it's been processed, it's been thought, and it's been synthesized, and this requires some attention. And very often, while you're shooting, this attention can be, maybe diverted, or it can be hampered by something. So if you pre-organize, the more you prepare, the better you will be at improvising and at receiving changes and bringing flexibility to what you do. So I believe very much in preparation, in pre-visualization, and at the same time in complete openness. So the more you prepare, the more open you are. You're totally right. It is. I also think about the beginning of a book, the first sentence of a book. Yes, indeed, I do. I think it is very important the way you finish, the way you end. But actually, it is very important just because you're coming from out of the blue. You go into a cinema, or you just start your show on TV, whatever. But the fact is that it is actually all equally important. Just at the beginning, it seems to be more important because you are coming from, yes, I said, just the ordinary life, and then you start sinking into this. So it's like the first contact. But actually, this serious thought about all of it is always there. But talking about books, because you mentioned this, also, and this is the difficult part, this doesn't imply that you need a rigidity or to make a masterpiece out of every sentence, because this would be very heavy. We all know Flaubert took, I don't know, I think maybe a day to write, I think a third of a page at a certain point. I don't remember, but it was like incredibly, sometimes just a sentence in a day. And if it works, it works. But if it starts to look heavy-handed, and that you're just trying to do this too hard, then it will do the opposite. It will clog the movement, and it will clog the whole of the energy. So you have to find this balance about very good thinking, and then being really awake to receive, for example, in dialogue, the intonations, the tempo, the true presence of the actors talking to each other, the corresponding energy between them, not just fixed with the dialogue you've written because it is probably very good, let's assume so. So this is the difficult part, that film has to be very well conceptually thought, like literature, but then it has to be very lived in a very lively way, in a very attentive way to the uncontrolled. And you have to keep that balance. But every sequence is very important. And of course, the opening sequence is the first sequence, so it is more clear that it is important. Well, about the clock, more than the fact that the death itself brought back the elapsing of time, it would be that maybe time stops for us when we are in moments of trouble or big crisis, It can be death, it can be the breakup of a relationship, it can be very strong economical hardship. I don't know, something traumatic in our memory probably works as a pause in time flowing. And these maybe are the stones that mark the road along our life and time. It is the basic moments when things are marked into who we are, and those seem to happen out of time in our memory. Memory works out of time, let's put it that way. So I think this is where the idea came from. But let me remind you that all of this, we are now conceptualizing upon it. But the fact is that when it happens, when I wrote it, it was much more intuitive. I think rationality is intuitive. It's intuition that pulls us forward, and the rationality or creates. I think it is intuition that creates, and rationality is just like a checkup mechanism that you don't always need to use. So I didn't think of this before. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, why do I have the clock here? Why do I want to have this and that? It's not like devices like that. A few things are, but mostly the main strength of a whole film should, or maybe any other work of art, should come from intuition, and it doesn't need to be clarified while you create. And then the resurrection. Well, yeah. Why do they not meet? You know, there's this famous film many people have always written about in regards to this film, which is The Word or Dead by Carl Dreyer. Of course, that film is about direct divine intervention, let's put it, and faith. So it's by faith and divine intervention that this woman actually wakes up in Dreyer's film. But in this film, it's much more about psychological dimensions. You know, maybe it would just be that this is what he would have longed for, that he would have wished for when he says, "I would like to bring time back." And then maybe it just didn't happen. Maybe it happens partially. Maybe things could have been different. So it's like reality is what seems to be dominant, but actually reality also is in what we long for, exists in what we long for, exists in what we regret, exists in our dreams, in our imagination. So I wanted he does go into the room, we hear the door, but we never see him. So maybe he didn't even go. Maybe he's already hallucinating, you know. Also, of course, I like the fact that maybe this could have happened because of love, because the two women kiss each other with great deliverance, and then there's this drop of fluidity that falls on her cheek, on her left cheek, on the side of the heart, and maybe she could come back to life. But we all know that this is almost maybe impossible. I don't know if this happens, but I haven't seen it happen. But we all long for it. We all wish we could do it. So maybe it's all part of our nature and our reality to think in this way. So I'm just trying to escape this idea that the real is only the let's say the physical present tense. This is not the real. This is only part of reality. The real is much more than that, and our desires and our regrets and our just images of anything else that is not in this physical present tense reality conforms reality also. Reality, in my view, this is a whole philosophical question, of course, but for me, reality is what each one of us perceives as life. Because if we all die, there's no more reality. They're just objects floating in space. Reality for me is in my view, is a human concept that refers to human perception only. A priori, I don't tell them the rationale, because I don't think you need to express anything in particular to convey something. I think it is the whole of the mechanism, as I said before, that is constructing an emotional dimension where things will happen. You know, for example, someone said to me now that he saw the film, he said, I love the fact that you can see people really thinking. And of course, if you just make a shot of someone, let's say 30 seconds, and he's like this, like, you know, Rodin's thinker like this, well, of course, this is like the cliche of thinking, but very often you're just standing like that and you're thinking as much as someone that really apparently is in the position of thought. So how is it that you know what is happening inside something or behind something that doesn't let you see? Like, how do you feel anger, for example? How do you know someone is angry? Not because necessarily there's foam in their mouths, but because there is an emotional dimension that has been created in a particular space and time because of what is happening. This happening is what I call the emotional context. And this is what is different from painting or sculpture in cinema. That cinema, like music, and here cinema is closer to music, but but just on that side, because also it's also like painting or literature, because it's creating a direct sense, but it does it in time. So there's an emotional dimension that happens. So this is what is creating all that is happening, and you don't need the actors to know this. They have to bring in their presence, physical presence, and the words and the movements, and all of this together will be creating as a whole. So, but this is not a complete dry rule. You know, sometimes if if an actor would not, you can bring something to him or her. So so something there's a spark and something happens. For example, when Esther dies by the tree, she was thinking of her father that had died recently in sort of tragic, some form of tragic form. And she said she wanted to bring this in. And I said, of course, you can bring in the sadness, but the context of the film will bring the sadness to what is happening because of this heart pain. And actually, it was the sadness of her father dying. So you utilize all of the tools of actual reality and you put them in order. It's like organizing something so it all goes down a pipe.
Wow, I really love it. And now talking a little about your current moment, Mr. Reygadas. A few months ago, you were in Cannes, today in Locarno. How do you feel about this continuing to honor one of the most highly regarded filmmakers in Mexico?
Well, you know, I really never wanted to be a jury member. I said when I was 30, I would only be one when I was after I was 50. And as like old people who are 30 years old, they think this will never happen, but then it does. Then I accepted Locarno for the first time, and they invited me in Cannes, and so I had to do the two. But this is not like my favorite position, I have to say. But to be honest, you know, about, as you say, like being an let's say an artist, whatever, from Mexico or India or England, whatever all of we can be, you know, I mean, of course, I love my land and many things of my culture and whatever, but I think mostly in human terms. You know, I really can relate very depending on my actual way of feeling with anyone from you and not with my neighbor necessarily, you know. So I think we should think I think very much in universal terms. I think what really unites us is 99.9% the human part. And the rest is just things we fix our attention on because they're simpler to get, but they're not really important. But of course, when you love, like you asked me about Mexico, well, of course you wish this would happen because it would be good for the people around. I mean, that everyone could really have a good life. You know, this is always something we desire, and that we could have access to culture and things that are stimulating, of course. But this goes for everybody in the planet.
But I must say that you already done something very great in this year, right? Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, we definitely have to get independence from all this doctoring of art in cinema. This is something that it cannot go right, you know, because this is a doctoring for standardization, and art is precisely the opposite. Yeah. So we have to do without it. But as I said at first, we are in such longing for prevalence and just, you know, like, you know, the world we live in is by definition a fight for the resources. And so this also permeates to every other aspect of life. And that's why also filmmakers accept this, because they want also the benefits of this. We all, so we have to break this system. This system is really negative. And it is not even believing in his or her own voice. I know that's the way you phrase it, but we don't have to believe in ourselves either. We don't have to be, because then we will always be afraid of failure. We don't have to believe. We have to be ready for failure, completely ready. We just have to. The most important thing is not to believe in yourself, but is to remember that we just have one life, and that it may be very short. So we use this time we have to do the best we can, to be who we need to be. Not to do the best we can, to be who we need to be, and then we die. And that's all. That's the only important thought, I think. All these things about positive energy, believing in yourself, having your own voice, who cares? No, we have it, you know. You never think about having your own eyes or your own fingerprints. You just have them. Yeah. You just are. So we just have to be, and we just have to, and the best idea to help with this is that we're going to die. And maybe sooner than we think sometimes, or later than we think, but we'll just have one life. So do whatever you have to do, and enjoy, and and then you will enjoy it, and you will not live with fear. Enjoyment is probably not a real thing. It's just not living with fear is enough.
Muchísimas gracias, Carlos. Un abrazo.
Thank you, guys. Nos vemos en México, Felipe, one of these days.
Cuenta con ello.
I believe in life. I believe in love, and I believe in cinema.